Hey guys, so this is Thursday's math video. Excuse me. And I just want to thank y'all so much for all your hard work. I know this week's work seemed like a lot, but most of it, like I said at the beginning of the week, was a review. So I just wanted to make sure that you all understood the point of, or the importance of decimals and rounding, comparing, and all that good stuff that goes with it. So, because we never stop using it. So today we are going to be estimating, and when we estimate, it's very similar to rounding. I'm not going to say it's the same thing, but it's very similar. Now remember our rules for rounding. If it's 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, give it a rest. Now my little thing that I have made my students normally do is I make them underline the number that we are rounding. So, for example, for numbers 1 through 10, we are rounding to the nearest whole number. So you would underline the first whole number that we have, and that's the whole number closest to your decimal. Now, some people look at it and they underline the whole number, but I just find it's a lot simpler if we just do it this way. Now, step 1, we did it. We located what we're rounding. Step 2, you look to its neighbor. All right, and its neighbor is the neighbor on its right. Okay, the neighbor on its right. If the neighbor is 5 or more, you raise the score. If it's 4 or less, let it rest. So right here on number 1, okay, we're looking for the whole number. The whole number is 11, so we're going to look at this first one. Its neighbor is a 4. 4 or less, let it rest. So 11 and 4/10 rounds just 11. You can put 11.0. Okay. Number 2, I have 278 and 9/10. I have the 8 underlined, and I'm looking to the 9 because it's its neighbor. All right, 5 or more, that is 9. So this 8 turns into a 9. And I just messed up myself. And that's why y'all use pencils. All right, so you're just going to continue doing this. So we look to the neighbor, draw your arrows. I prefer to use the arrows because it shows me that you know what you're or where you're going to look at. It shows me that you understand that I'm looking to the neighbor, and if I see maybe that you drew the arrow the wrong way, I can say, okay, well, that we need to work on making sure you know where you're rounding. We need to work on this. So that's very helpful. So if we continue going, I have 56 and 31/100ths. I have the 6 underlined. I'm looking to the 3. 3 is less than 5, so 56 stays. Okay, I'm just going to write the whole number. That's all they want. Okay, right here. I have 12 and 515 thousandths. So the 12 there, that's a 5. So that 2 bumps up to a 3. So that rounds to 13. The importance of this is it's very, especially like with this right here, the best example I can give you is when it comes to money and you're having to round your money. And it also comes in handy when you're trying to add up a large sum of money, like several little items that you're buying. If you just round it to the nearest dollar, it's easier to add than having to add all that irregular cents in. So I have 1,458 and 7/10. Okay, the 7 is greater than 5, so the 8 gets to bump up to a 9. Okay, the 3 is less than 5, so the 56 gets to stay at 56. 78 and 6/10. The 6, which is beside the 8, is more than 5, so the 78 turns to 79. 32 and 4/100ths. The 0 is far less than 5, so 32 gets to stay 32. 6 and 2/10, same thing happens. The 2 is less than 5, so it stays 6. And 16 and 51/100ths, the number beside it's 5 or more, so 16 now turns into 17. Okay, for the next 10, you're going to be the same thing, except you're going to be looking at different places. Right here it says round to the nearest 10th, and then down here round to the nearest 100th. So right now we're going to go ahead and underline the numbers in the tenths place. Remember, the tenths, you have your decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, tenths, hundreds, thousandths. So we're going to go right beside that decimal. Okay, and we're going to look to the neighbor. All right, so same thing happens here. We're looking at the 1, we look at the neighbor, the 4. 4 is less than 5, so the 1 stays. So I'm going to put 62.1. Or you can put 62.10, whichever you prefer. 8 and 77/100ths. The 7, the second 7, is greater than 5, so the first 7 gets to turn into an 8. Okay, 6 and 35/100ths, same things happens here. The 5 is 5 or more, so the 3 gets to turn into a 4. 10 and 800ths. You have a 0 here by an 8. So the 8 is greater than 5, so that 0 gets to bump up to a whole number, or to a, not a whole number, but a number 1. Okay, you have 9 and 23/100ths. Same thing happens here. The 3 is below 5, so that stays. So I want you to do 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, please. You can pause the video now, or you can wait until we get down to the bottom part, because you're going to go ahead and you're going to do 27, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 by yourself also. So it's your choice. You can either pause it now and do those 5, or wait and do the whole 10 at one time. It's whatever you like to do. Okay, so down here we're looking at the hundredths place, and like I said before, we have our decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we're looking at the second number. Okay, and then we're looking at the neighbor, and the neighbor will be in the thousandths place. Okay, so 7 and 625 thousandths. We're looking at the 2. Its neighbor is a 5, so that means the 2 gets to bump up to 7 and 63/100ths. 12 and 333 thousandths. The 3 gets to stay a 3 because the 3 beside it is less than 5. 6 and 267 thousandths. The 7 is greater than 5, so the 6 gets to turn into a 7. 3 and 241 thousandths. The 1 is below, so the 4 stays the same. Okay, 8 and 928 thousandths. The 8 is above a 5, so the 2 gets to change. Okay, so like I said before, it's your choice. You could have either already did the first 5 and then now we're going to do these, or you could very easily have done the other thing. So just go ahead and pause it and finish it. Okay, right here, we are going to be rounding once again, and we're rounding to different areas. You round to the 10th, 100th, nearest dollar. When that says dollar, they mean a whole number. So that's what you're going to be dealing with. And I'm sorry, that's the alarm. That's the lunch alarm. Okay, so we're going to be doing this. So once again, we're going to be doing to the nearest 10th. So 10th, 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 10th. You look at the neighbor. Remember, 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. So I have 172 thousandths. The 7 is more than 5, so the 1 gets to change to a 2. So you can do this, or you could have just stopped at the 2. All right, I have 8 and 463 thousandths. The 6 is greater than 5, so that means the 4 gets to change. Okay, I want you to do 3 and 4. You're going to be doing the same thing, so if you just want to wait and do it all at one time, that's fine. Okay, the hundredths place. Go ahead and underline all those. And we're going to be looking at the neighbor. All right, I have 326 and 108 thousandths. The zero's in the hundreds place, so we're looking at the 8. The 8 is greater than 5, so that 0 gets to bump up to a 1. 4 and 128 thousandths. Looking at the 2, then the 8. There you go. All right, now dollar. Remember, it's just the whole number. It's just the whole number. And we just did whole numbers over here. Okay, for this one, I'm actually going to, let me do this. Y'all do number 10, and I'll do 11. Okay, so we have $6.34. Okay, so the 3 is less than 5, so it rounds down to $6. Now, over here, just like we did with number 5, if I have 78 cents, 78 cents. So if you did this, and you're going to be to the nearest dollar, so you have $0 or $1. This is 50 cents. Okay. So that's 7 is greater than 5. So that means that this little 0 gets to bump up. So it means it rounds to $1. So that's basically all that is. Okay, then number 13, Donovan Bailey of Canada ran the 100-meter dash in 9 and 84 hundredths seconds. How fast to the nearest second? How fast to the 10th of a second? Okay, so I have 9.84. I'm going to write it twice because I'm looking for two different things. I'm looking to the nearest second, and I'm looking to the nearest 10th. Okay, so I'll look to here. Whoops. And I'll look here. Okay, to the nearest second. What was it rounded to? The 8 is greater than 5, so that 9 turns into a 10. Very good. 10 seconds. All right, then we have tenths over here. Okay, the 4 is less than 5, so the 8 gets to stay the same. Now, I prefer that when we do questions like this that you always write down the units just because you need to get used to that for when you get up in your grades for math. Okay, this next one is very simple. It's simply just comparing numbers. And we know how to compare numbers. We did this multiple times. Remember, when we compare and we have enough room down here, we can very simply line up the numbers and look at them. So the 4 and the 4 is the same. The 8 and the 8 is the same. Our differences are right here. I have a 7 and a 2. Since 7 is bigger than 2, that makes The 48 and 72 hundredths, the bigger number. Now, I'm still having kids get confused on the whole greater than, less than. So just to remember back when you were little, the crocodile eats the big number, okay? Or the alligator, whatever you want to say. It eats the big number. So wherever the big number is, that's where the mouth is going to be open. Okay? So let's look at this one. I have 81 and 18 hundredths compared to 81 and 81 hundredths. So line it up. Some of you may not have to line it up, and that's fine. The 8s are the same, the 1s are the same. This is where we're different. And since 8 is greater than 1, there you go. 3 and 15 hundredths compared to 3 and 13 hundredths. The 3s are the same, the 1s are the same. The 5 and 3 is where it's different. And 5 is greater than 3. Here I have 66 and 6 tenths. And then 66. No, I don't. I have 66 and 6 hundredths. And then 66 and 6 tenths. So just look, and you can see that the 6 is larger than 0. There you go. Now, I want you to do the rest of these. I know you can. All right, and then you're just responsible for doing 17. Just do 17 and 19. All right, just do the odds. Okay, very simple, just comparing. Okay, I hope this is the last one. Nope. All right. So, which one's greater? Same thing here. You're very simply just comparing your numbers. Like this, you have 856 thousandths compared to 862 thousandths. Don't even pay any attention to the zeros there. Just compare the numbers. Is 856 greater than or less than 862? It's less than. 3 and 65 hundredths compared to 36 and 5 tenths. 36 is way bigger than 3. Okay, I have 4 and 96 hundredths compared to 5 and 2 hundredths. 4 is less than 5. 7 and 2 tenths compared to 7 and 162 thousandths. Do not let the 162 thousandths throw you when you have the 2 tenths. Make them have the same number of digits. Now this has 4 digits and this has 4 digits. Now is 200 greater or less than 162? It's greater. Okay, I have 9 and 419 thousandths compared to 8 and 42 hundredths. 9 is greater than 8. 5 and 65 hundredths compared to 56 and 5 tenths. 5 is less than 56. All right, I have 2 and 531 thousandths compared to 25 and 31 hundredths. Now you should know that 25 is greater than 2. All right, I have 438 thousandths compared to 43 hundredths. Remember what I said. They need the same number of digits. Okay, so add a 0. So which one's 438 and 430? 38 is larger than 30. I have 17 and 226 thousandths compared to 17 and 326 thousandths. 17s are the same, but we have 226 compared to 326. 300 is greater than 200. Okay, now I want you to finish the rest of it. All right, you'll do 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then right here, you're doing the same thing. you are doing the same thing as you were before. You're just comparing. Like right here, 1 and 4/10 is greater than 1 and 36/100. 565 thousandths compared to 510 thousandths. 565 is greater than 510. And then 8 and 100ths compared to 8 and 1,000ths. 100th is greater than 1,000th. Just to prove it, make them have the same number of digits. 10 is larger than 1. So just do this. Now, for your practice and problem solving, when you get to it, you are comparing and ordering. And then right here, you will need to use a blank sheet of notebook paper if you have it. If not, just use something that you have. All right, only do the odds on both of them. Only do the odds. So you only have 6 there, and then 2 down here. So odds only. All right, odds only. I only want the odds. And make sure on your paper that you write odds only. Okay, right down here, same thing. I want you to do the odds. All right, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Only do the odds. You can write that down on your paper again. Okay, on the back, you're ordering from greatest to least. Only do the odds. So that means you only have to do the left side. Okay? Odds only. Now, that should be it for your practice and problem solving. The other thing you have is your drills. Please continue to work on those. Please remember that on these 3, you're only doing the odds. Okay, odds only. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You have 19 problems right there. It's not that bad. All right. So that's what you're going to be doing today on Thursday. I hope you have a good rest of the day, and I will see y'all later. Bye-bye.